Bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Welcome to Everyone Racers,
a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Lemmy Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we don't discriminate.
as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussion,
Tips, tricks,
As well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
whether it's on the spot.
hella sweet,
Or we're lucky enough, and
Chrissy,
I give you just the tip.
we're sure you'll giggle a little.
and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy,
I'm Tim.
And I'm mental.
and we are Everyone Racers. Welcome to a Nikola Tesla Theory episode of the podcast. It's episode 369. The Tesla's 369 obsession began with his fixation on the number 3, and he is alleged to have stated, "If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have already had the key to the universe." There are a lot of reasons behind this in his mind that you could fall down an internet rabbit hole if you wanted to, but whatever. It's also 3, 6, 9.
Finish it.
What? Nice. What?
There's 3 nices because it's 369s.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Nice.
Okay. Sorry. I just thought you just kept typing or something.
No, it's 369s. So it's
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
times
Nice.
3.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. Great. Well, aside from our reading comprehension, what else are we working on? Mental. How about you?
Big surprise, everybody. We are recording this episode early so you can have it while you are traveling. We will talk about that in a bit. So it is Monday, and I have literally just this morning, arrived back from Sonoma, where I caught a nap, took a shower, and went to work. So, not sleeping. That's what I do. Mhm.
Working on refueling his car over
There we
and
go.
over.
Yeah. Surprisingly, 35 miles per gallon, and I averaged 72 miles an hour. Coming back, just set the cruise, and off she went.
The Miata.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
How
Who's
about
next?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Thanks.
Chris, what are you working on?
I've been working on cylinder heads. We told you last week about the engine that had the churro cams in it. And I eventually got the head fully apart, and looking at it more, the head was pitted in certain ways that made it not usable. The way this works is it's a 4-valve per head engine, obviously. The cams actuate directly on the valves, but they have a little, like a bucket that goes upside down over the valve that sits in a hole in the head. And that's what the cam actually actuates on. It's not a lifter because it's not hydraulic. It's just, but it looks like a lifter. Anyway, so they're sitting in this little hole. But the couple of them the surfaces were damaged enough that I didn't think they would last under any kind of racing conditions and put metal in things, and that's bad. So that head got scrapped, and I'm using the head from the motor that blew up at NJMP, but that had 4 bent valves, and the other valves weren't sealing up quite as well. So that one's now completely apart as well, so that I can mix and match parts of 2 heads and have the machine shop clean it up. And but we use the basically new valves from the churro motor head because the valves look perfect, and the old casting. And I'll just do a quick port to it while it's out and sitting on the bench. Nothing nearly in depth as like I used to do on the Honda heads, because these ones don't need it, frankly. Their flow on these heads is amazing. So yeah.
If
so
that
once
engine
that
is
was-
not like labeled churro motor, I will be
that's what I'm-
disappointed.
I was laughing
Mm-hmm.
about that. I'm like, okay, well, if they have to have names so we can know which one's which.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
true. Yep. So once I had the cylinder head scrapped and we had available for scrap and had a bunch of other stuff for scrap, we went to the scrap metal place, which is always
Ooh!
fun.
We did.
Do we get to
Yay!
do we get to
Guess that number? Guess
Yeah.
that
That
number?
number?
Sure, I'll tell you what we had. We had the engine For aluminum, we have the engine block, a cylinder head, 2 timing covers, 4 portion control arms, various other stuff. It's the small things. For steel, we had a couple flex plates, brake rotors, a control arm, crankshaft, and a lot of smalls. So, what do you think? Price is Right rules. Mental.
Okay, go ahead.
200 in aluminum and 100 in steel.
Okay.
Are
Tim?
Are steel prices national or is it local?
I'm going to go with
to a
local.
point, but
I'm gonna go with the under on that mental. I am gonna go $140 in aluminum and
So I went
70.
with pounds. I didn't go with dollars. Sorry.
Okay. So what would you say in pounds?
200 aluminum, 100 steel.
Oh, I thought this is how much? How much?
I thought we were doing dollars.
I
Are we
have
doing
no idea
both?
what prices go
whatever.
for.
Make it
Yeah.
to make your own guess. Who cares? Just say something.
All right, I'm gonna do 150 in cash for aluminum, and I'm gonna do $76 in steel.
All right. You guys are both high all
I've
around.
been so
It was
disappointed.
like 150 pounds of aluminum at 53 cents a pound. So it was 70 something in aluminum, and it was 250 pounds of steel, and at not much. So we ended up with $91.
$91.
I still like having $91 for stuff that is junk, and I don't want to. I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And
And
this
it's
way,
not-
it all gets recycled,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
not going
great.
to landfill.
That's 3 meals at Chili's with tip for both of you.
That's
Yeah,
that's like 103 churros.
right. We figured it was great. Now we can go afford groceries this week because we
Groceries.
scrapped our stuff, so we're
Yeah.
good. What else? Yard work, breaking leaves, stuff like that, and also did the snow tire changeover to the Mercedes. It's that time of year. Season's
Nice.
upon us.
All of those things, and we're hosting some family members for Thanksgiving and then some all around that holiday. So we were cleaning and prepping and did some food, made some smoked meats. Yep.
Delicious
The,
smoky meats.
You guys have heard me talk on and on about Jerry Wayne Longmire and his truck astrology. Last week he did the turkey astrology, and he went through this guy shows up with everything planned out. He's got a fire extinguisher and a deep oil fryer, and he's going to do everything. It's going to be great. What time should I be there to eat? This guy shows up with a frozen turkey, a bunch of oil, and he's about to burn down his house. Also, what time is it going to be done? And then he said, as reference to Chris's favorite thing, spaycocking a bird.
Spatchcock.
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 He goes, spatchcock. It's a lot more fun to say than it is to do. And it also makes me think that somebody's got a bit of a Silence of the Lambs fetish when they do this. But also, what time will it be ready?
A lot faster than any
Yeah,
other ways. That's for sure.
And cooked more thoroughly, and
Yep.
Yes.
it's the way to go. Tim.
I other than judging, I was still pretty busy. I acquired 4 golf carts from a buddy of mine, and so I trailered those to the racetrack on the jankiest of trailers that Mental wouldn't own.
And if anyone knows janky trailers.
Yeah.
Where
And
did you get this janky trailer?
it is from the club. It sits out in the open all day long, all year long. And it was a club that I used to work at, and I replanked the entire top of it. It's an aluminum featherlight flat trailer. I replanked the top of it 14 years ago, and it's the same wood that's been sitting out in the elements. So it's got D-rings on it, and which I don't trust at all. I mean, I put big bolts and big washers on them, but I'm like, this could pull through.
They'll rip right through that rotted wood.
Yeah, like it's styrofoam, right? So I figured that the best way to hold these golf carts down was just with one big strap going from frame rail to frame rail. And so just one direction of strapping seemed good enough to me. And At worst, they'll just move around a little bit on the trailer, which is exactly what they did because the carts are engine braked, so they won't roll forward and backwards. But when the trailer's bouncing around, they were kind of doing a little bit of a salsa dance, and they ended up closer together in the center, much closer together in the center than when we started. So, but it was fine. Everything's fine.
It was actually great because it was raining and now everybody didn't have to go around on bicycles and motorcycles. They had covered golf carts.
Yeah, it was good. So I only brought 2 last year, and this year I brought 4, and I gave one of them to Ranger Road to drive around for their crew because they got a big crew. And then I stayed at the hotel with the staff on Friday night. Thursday night, I'm getting ahead of myself. Thursday night, Pantless Matt came into town. He stayed at my house, and we started looking at the Corvette to try to get that running. We had some progress, but not a ton. We weren't getting oil pressure, so we were getting it to crank. We weren't getting any oil pressure. We were trying to figure out what was going to happen with that. And Friday morning, while it was just teeming down rain, Matt was funking around with a little bit, poured some oil down there. We got compression, which we didn't have because the rings aren't seated, obviously, on a new build. And so Saturday after the potluck, we went back to the house and we're like, all right, we got like 4 hours. We can crank on this thing. We borrowed an oil pressure pump from Jeff Gates, and we took the plug out of the side of the block and pumped like 45 psi of oil into the block to try to get the lifters to not be collapsed, get some oil in the block. So we did that and we got good pressure. We turned it over, fired up, ran great, stopped smoking a little bit. It's super quiet, which we're really happy about because it's got all forged internals. Let it run. We're still not seeing oil pressure at the gauge, but we've got it. We know we've got it because we've got a mechanical hooked up to the side of the block. So then we're about to shut it down, and Matt goes, oh God, shut it down. And I turn it off, and I jump out of the car, and there is the Valdez spill 2.0 underneath the car. It blew the oil cooler line off and dumped $120 of starting oil all over the ground. So that's what 7 liters of oil looks like under a Corvette, ladies and gentlemen. So got that cleaned up with a dustpan and a piece of cardboard and scooped it up into a
You just put in a funnel back into the motor, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. But I'm happy. It's working. It's breathing. I think the oil pressure issue is actually either the sensor is bad or the wiring got messed up going in. Two bits with that is that oil pressure sensor sits on the very back of the LS in the valley behind the intake. And when I was taking the motor out, I didn't know because it's tucked like way underneath the cowl of the windshield. And I started to pull it out and ripped the tip of the plug off. So I had to source a new plug, rewired it, put that in, and so it's either the sender's bad or something's wrong with the plug itself. We think maybe it might be pinned wrong, which would be really weird, but it's got ground, it's got 5 volts. So unless the signal's bad, then it's not the wire, it's the sender. So $60, I'm gonna get a new oil pressure sensor and put that in, and I'll bench test the sensor first, see if the gauge will go up in the car, and then go from there. So success. I'll call it a success. We're not quite there yet, but we're closer.
No more the depressing just spinning if nothing can.
Followed by tears.
Tears.
Hey, the fact that it ran at all and that's the key.
Yeah,
it ran and sounded good.
and it was quiet. It was making 70 pounds of oil pressure at the block, and it was making 40 at the sensor with the mechanical gauge. So I'm excited about that. That's good.
That's excellent.
Yay.
Okay,
Cool,
great.
cool.
I can't wait to hear about the race, which is what we're going to talk about later. So that sounds great. Okay, let's move on. News and notes time! F1 stuff is everywhere, but finally, some of the memorabilia is accurate and reasonable in price. Now featuring Lego's F1 car sets, featuring all 10 teams. What? They don't usually do that. And they're actual cars, not just one car and some additional stickers. I learned about this from Beverly Braga on the drive. Quote, during the product announcement, F1 host Will Buxton was unexpectedly but delightfully impressed at the level of detail on Lego sets that don't cost as much as a game console. Again, this isn't a $100 plus Technic set that contains thousands of pieces, but a Speed Champion model that retails for $26.99 and $26.99 and has less than 300 parts. And every time Buxton looks at the next card down the line, he notices something new. They go on sale early 2025. You have to pre-order now. Look up Lego Speed Champions and pick your team. I already have mine on order, so Chris, do not order any of those. Or we can have his and hers, because that would be fun too. And I'll let you know how it goes. I had to buy something else when I was already there, and so that one's already on its way. Yeah, they look really cool. I was pretty excited to see this.
Super fun.
Excellent. Well, Andretti and Cadillac's F1 bid keeps getting thwarted, but as Chris Teague at The Truth About Cars tells us, some leadership shuffles at Andretti could be the group's ticket forward, as it could eliminate some of the tensions between Andretti himself and the people of F1 who just don't seem to like him. The team's initial bid was approved by the FIA, but F1 denied the entry because the alleged commercial and competitive concerns, i.e., they don't want to share the money. Part of the issue is that Andretti won't have his in-house power unit from Cadillac ready until 2028, and the interim plan to use Alpine power units is out the window now because Alpine gave up on that project to use Mercedes power units. But AutoGuide sources say that the team could lean on Ferrari for a power unit in the interim. Now, despite the challenges with approval, Andretti moved forward with car development. The team recently opened a new facility at Silverstone Park in the UK and has hired more than 250 people. So this has been a rough road, and delayed approval may have benefits. Not being officially part of F1 means they've been able to avoid F1's cost cap and car development rules, giving them time.
Oh, all right.
One's
Okay,
decision on entry come soon, and actually it did. There's an update as of today. It's official that Cadillac is going to be the 11th car on the grid for 2026. So they just basically got rid of Andretti himself, Michael Andretti, and a lot of other people around. But there's this kind of like seems like the same operation overall. But now without Andretti, everyone's like, yeah, that's fine. Cadillac, sure, you're in, no problem. And really, mostly it's because GM they're excited to have another OEM, and they're going to be a constructor completely. They're going to make their own engines eventually, but we shall see. That's the news.
Breaking news.
So, this was just handed to me. Yes.
This just in.
That's so weird. Who's coming up to your bedroom, up the stairs in the house?
It's like,
cat.
Wait a minute. This just in.
Yes.
Tekko just ran in with a little piece of paper in her mouth and said, "Here, Dad. This just in."
When we get our own show on Velocity, we'll have a dog trained or a cat trained to bring just breaking news rolls right there. This just in. It'll be awesome.
Well, there's some openings on Motor Trend, from what I understand too.
Ooh.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Yeah. Although the other channel they have the garage, the Lucky Costa and the drag racer. Her name escapes me.
Hot Rod Garage.
Yeah, their contract got renewed, so I guess they're just done with the roadkill portions of it. But those guys are all over the internet. They've got Finnegan's Garage and Finnegan Marine and all that, so I think they'll all be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Opportunity for them to make themselves some money for a change.
Yes. All right. Well,
Speaking
there we
of
go. So
making
we just touched on the third news and notes, which brings us to our sponsors section.
Yep.
Yep.
which is
Mhm.
blue.
Do you want to read that?
Which
Or-
is yeah.
Well, I was just waiting for you to yell, and then I was going to read it.
Oh, I
Sorry.
don't usually yell.
Fair enough. All right. We are releasing this episode early so that you can listen to it while you are traveling for Thanksgiving, which is a truly American holiday. And what could be more of a reason to give thanks than a V8 muscle car with a picture of flaming poultry on the hood? I truly don't know. We quickly found this 78 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am on racingjunk.com, naturally, with a non-cheapskate owner. And there are 51 pictures of this absolutely gorgeous blue fire chicken on a white base. From the ad, it is a true time capsule, 3-owner, documented 62,000 original miles, 1978. The driver's rear fender has been painted, supposedly got scratched in a parking lot at this second owner's business. Got this from a buddy of mine and have extensive paperwork back to the first oil change. All the numbers match. Car's kept inside, so the paint and nose piece are show as well. All original sheet metal. Driver's seat does have a small tear. I left it alone to show you its true survivor status. Most of these Firebirds were ragged out or dirt tracked or ended up in my high school parking lot with a set of air shocks or Kragers in the back of them. He didn't write that part. I did. Dirt tracked. This is not one of those. Doors do not even have the sag. Every F-body enthusiast right now goes, what?
Yeah.
Yes. You could tell it's been taken care of. This is an investment, a quality type car that you can still drive because it's not a museum, $50,000 plus type money. It has some original blemishes. Again, it's an original true survivor, 46-year-old car. That is a great ad. These are great pictures, and this fantastic car can be yours for $32,000. It's in Bremen, Georgia. Yes, all day long. I would drive this, and twice on Sunday. This is a awesome, fantastic car. And yeah, like I'm clicking through pictures, but we're not going to have a chance to get through all 51 of them because this guy knows how to make an ad on racingjunk.com. And I wouldn't even call this one as an opportunity to die on Racing Junk. Like, this is an opportunity to be way cooler than a new Toyota Camry. Not
great for
nearly
doing
as
burnouts.
practical, but way cooler.
It's hard to die with 130 horsepower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But those drum brakes and those 14-inch tires are going to do their part. Don't worry. It won't be for a lack of trying, especially when it rains. But that's a great car.
So fun.
Mm-hmm.
That is the flaming chicken for Thanksgiving version is the guy in the driveway frying it in a pan of oil. That's the turkey version of flaming chicken. That's what I thought of when you said that.
Yes. Oh, and I do want to, we're going to real quick, because I know I said I was going to draw 51 pictures. Here's how you know this is a true survivor. Look at that. Look at that power amp and
It's
equalizer
a
there.
graphic
Yes.
equalizer.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the glove compartment because they didn't want to spoil the
Oh,
lines of
that's
that
amazing.
dashboard. All right. Check that ad out. It's in our show notes. That's awesome.
Okay, upcoming races. There are none. It's Thanksgiving. But we do have some races. Tell us what you know.
Oh, we know it all. We know everything.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
talk about all of it down there at the
Let's
bottom.
talk about it then.
I
We
think
don't
we
wanna
should just
Save it for the main.
integrate it into the main.
Got it. Let's do listener feedback then.
Michael K. shook, whatever.
Shaked. He
Shook his fist at a cloud on YouTube. The airplane story just proves the point. Airlines will do everything to keep the butts in the seats with the plane in the air because that's how they make money. It has just as much to do with gate fee penalties, real or not, from being available for other aircraft at some airports.
It's totally fine. It's not like they're going to absolutely completely deregulate the industry and the things where they have to pay you for your canceled tickets or any of that. It's none of that's going to happen.
No, never.
Never. It's going to be great. Paul Jan 2521 said, quote, news we missed. A recently restored BMW 850 was one of the 3 cars damaged by a moose that got itself stuck in the garage of a BMW specialist in Sweden. I saw that video and it is, you can hear them going, Open a door. What are we gonna do? We can't, and it is stepping on hoods and it's trying to get out and it's trying to like run through a window. It's awful. But they wrapped it up with Mushlong Racing Lives. Yeah. Take that, boring BMW. Bam, 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 bam.
All right, I posted on Facebook looking for for a recommendation on cool shirts since Christmas is coming. I didn't get much traction. I'm going to blame that on the stupid algorithms. But I did get a couple. Tom said I am going for a cool thong. That's all I need. And Tyler did have some ideas. Cool shirt with an FIA pull to release connectors. The premium seems well worth it. To not have to worry about releasing them before exiting the car in emergency. That said, it's also pretty easy to rig up an adapter to whatever connector style you want, so only one person has to buy one set of expensive ones. Yes,
The easy
so
way to tell, those are the red ones.
if people have ideas on cool shirts, I would love to hear them.
Tim, what was the car we saw this weekend that had the cool shirt fittings permanently mounted to the passenger side? They were just right there by their right leg.
Yeah, I
Brilliant.
don't remember which car it was, but they just took a piece of sheet metal, they bent it into an angle, they mounted it to the outside of their seat on the driver's side. So it went vertical along the seat and then it came out and they had two holes where they just hard mounted the two connectors right there. So you can just take your shirt and just go plink and you're done. It was really clean. Well done.
A lot of shirts don't have the hose length to do that. Like a lot of times they're like just barely sticking out of the fly and you can't. Like, I would love to do something like that, but there's too many variations in cool shirts to do it for our team at least.
That's true.
That's
Unless
just
they're all-
adapters or extenders.
Unless they're all buying
Yeah.
new shirts this year.
Yeah, but then by the time you get extenders and adapters, now you're increasing all the different potential leak points. The more points, yeah. Good idea. Wish it would work.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, also on the YouTubes relating to our news and notes, Paul Juan 2521 also said, "So what gave you the idea to destroy a car interior while wearing a bear costume? We were preparing a lemon scarf for racing, but things got way out of hand. And you know what? That is something that is feasible."
I feel like an insurance adjuster would accept that one. Yeah, I've seen some of those lemons weirdos. Yeah, all right. Don't do it. Don't do it again.
I've seen dumber things on Thursday and Friday night at a lemons track.
Yep.
Yes.
You know who usually doesn't tear up interiors in her cars and wearing a bear costume?
No, when she wears a bear costume, she's totally fine. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. Hi, Chrissy's mom.
Hello, Chrissy's mom.
Hi, Chrissy's mom.
We hope you have a wonderful and relaxing Thanksgiving there in the house and basking with.
It will not be that, but thanks.
It will probably be happy and exciting for her. Yeah.
What's the Thanksgiving cookie of choice for mom to bake?
Ooh.
Well, we usually have pies, and she makes like the little sugar butter cutouts that are turkeys with a fall sprinkle.
Oh.
Some fall sprinkles.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
And pie.
And pie.
Pie.
I like pie.
I want pie.
Okay, it's me. Tell us all about what happened here.
Oh boy, there's a lot. You're gonna have to shut us up at some point. Like we're gonna hear the music start in the background, and the hook's gonna come out.
Yeah. Gather round, children.
Well,
it's story time.
I don't want to oversell it, but this may have been the greatest judging staff ever assembled. So, it was Judge Corey Dickman. Eric was there supervising, kind of putting his eyeballs on some cars that he was curious about their history on that. Of course, our man Tim Burr, me, and Judge Jeff. And we actually knew this months ago, and we've had a running message thread for 2 months planning all kinds of just hilarious to us, hideous things that we wanted to do. And by and large, we got them all done. Had some really great penalties that we'll talk about as it goes through. But we showed up ready to work, and having a good working relationship with everybody. It was awesome.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool.
I think Corey was the first guy there. He was there like at noon on Thursday, and you were fiddling with the Corvette. But I did not get in until Friday morning driving in from Vegas. So I was there Friday morning, but Thursday night, what you guys?
Yeah, I got there about 2:30, 2:45, dropped the golf carts off, and it was a balmy 55 degrees and light rain for the entire time. For those of you that have not been to Sonoma, they stage you up in the they call it Lot 2, which is up above the track. I would loosely say it is a gravel parking lot.
Very loose.
Very
A lot
loose.
of mud, really.
Yeah. So but kind of the way that they handle things is they line everybody up but they end up doing like multiple lines before they'll let everybody in. There was an HPDE company, Hooked on Driving, that was down there on Thursday doing an event. So we got to watch people drive their very expensive cars around in the rain and throw copious amounts of water out of their tires when they dashed through these enormous puddles on the racetrack. It was a small field by the end of the day, and they ended up wrapping it up a little bit early. They normally run till 5:30. They got out of there about 4:30. They were incident free until the end of the day, and then apparently the rumor is that maybe a couple of coaches in their own cars had some problems coming out of the carousel and decided to make body modifications to their vehicles. So they quickly red flagged everything and said, all right, we're going home. Everyone go away. Which let us get into the paddock a little early and get things set up. The one trick about that was we had one area of the garages, so the ones closest to the gas pumps, so it's kind of right where you come in. There was one garage there that was off limits, that Honda had reserved, which I think they're doing some stuff today and tomorrow. And they had at one point in the weekend, they had the garage cracked just enough to kind of poke your head under there, and it was, I don't know what it was, but it was cool.
It's that electric race car that we talked about a couple of months ago.
Is that what that was?
It's the R version of their Ionic,
the Ionic 5N or whatever like that. Jeff would know.
It's cool. It's super cool.
It is cool. I mean, it looks almost like a Lego, like someone made a Lego version of the car. It looks like that in real life. It's pretty amazing. So, so that was Thursday. It was set everything up. All the teams came in, and then we did a quick prayer for less rain than what was expected. Which
or
more on that.
Culturally inappropriate, not rain dance.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thursday. So Friday then. Oh, Mental, you didn't talk about your Thursday. How was your drive in? How long is that drive?
Right about, like, with fuel stops and everything, 9 hours. So just painless, really. I was expecting crappy weather. I thought all of California was crappy weather, but it was clear and nice right up until I'd say I just rolled into Vallejo, and bam, there's the rain. I'm like, oh, hey, Sonoma. Yeah. And drove up to the track. It was raining there, but that's no complaints. That was an easy drive. Easy drive there. I'll spoiler alert, easy drive back. Just took a lot of time.
Yeah. So then we got set up and get started ready for tech.
Well, before that, like, we were in there setting up all of our penalties and stuff you had brought and Jeff had brought and Corey had brought, and yeah.
Yeah, we had many things. Mental, he concocted what we called the turkey of doom. So it was a turkey with three rows of like fanned out feathers, and on each feather, on the back was a number and the name of the penalty. And then we had a list, with a index, so to speak, of what that actually entailed. So we put all these together. We got some stuff. We reserved the right to add some more penalties, which I think we added 5 to the list.
Yes.
And then set the tables up and did all the things. Got the paint cans ready for the bribes and for the bad themers, and before you know it, it was 11 o'clock and we had cars rolling in. And let me tell you, the weather was horrible. It was just dumping rain, and it did that all day long, all day. So
Now,
That's too bad. At least you guys were. This is a great weekend to judge this time. You're not out there
nice
dealing
in
with
the
all this.
garage. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally.
as you sit out there and
Yes.
look at everybody, go, oh, doesn't that
Yep.
suck?
And-
Same for you.
We had hinted this. We had themed as judges, so we went with a Thanksgiving theme. So it was also a very good day to wear a big furry turkey onesie. So I was
Yeah.
warm
Like it.
most of the day.
As long
Yeah.
as you weren't
Um,
standing in the rain and it gets wet, and then you're part of the fur party. That's
Yeah.
sad, smelling.
No, I'm not.
fur.
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit there in the rain and, look like, we'll talk about the furry cars in a bit, but yeah, not interested in doing any of that. So we actually stayed dry on that one. Jeff Gates, rather than just put on his pilgrim costume, he just put it on over his clothes because it was a bit chilly. And Tim donned the look of I don't know how to. It's not like we're going to get canceled or anything.
I went with the other side of the coin of the pilgrim. So I went with the Native American.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I have a like really legit feather headdress from high school. My senior year, I was the school mascot, and we were the Toms River South Indians. So I have like a legit Indian costume. So I went like, I said, I'm gonna lean into it if we're gonna do this. So I went like full face paint and the big headdress with all the stuff, right? So Eric Rude came up to me and he said, he goes, "You are a toe stub away from blackface right now. You know that, right?" I'm like, yeah, right up to the edge of the line. Look over. I'm not gonna fall off of that one.
So,
So
but there we all are.
So cute.
Excellent.
super fun.
Yes.
Super fun. Corey Dickman is Charlie Brown in the middle. He got that from the Loose Nuts crew, so he jumped into the Thanksgiving theme a little bit last second too. Yeah, and it was fun. It was Kim also had a turkey costume, so she jumped into the mix. And I think it was more because, to Mental's point, it was a giant, warm, cozy onesie. so
Yeah, sounds great.
It
So
was good.
how were the themes? How were the cars? How did Friday go aside from being wet and soggy?
I'd say the themes were pretty good. We had 2 teams that were going hard for Halloween meets gasoline. So they were full on, like, all the things set up through tech and
somehow they
everything
managed
else.
to schedule themselves for the same times. They like both showed up. So we're getting
Yeah.
like a huge HMG caliber theme on top of a huge HMG caliber theme.
Yeah. And they've been like taunting each other on Facebook for weeks and the whole things. And they were both really good sports about it to each other. Like, they were leaning into each other's theme. So that was kind of fun too. So it was the Save Our Peckers from the 420 team, and they had an article from, I think it was like the 50s, in Sonoma where it was a chicken farm, and they were like trying to like shut down the chicken farm, and the headline was literally "Save Our Peckers" on the news article. So they had like legit historical memorabilia about their theme, and then they just went and made a 180 and leaned into the like all of the things you can buy at the adult store. So they
Yes.
went with the two process theme.
Every morning we walked into a nest set up in the center of the staff area with little plastic eggs and several things in the eggs, including a small bag of big sour dicks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There were Jimmy tissues. So they were tissues shaped like male genitalia.
Or use on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
Lots of handouts on how to do a proper testicular examination
Mm-hmm.
for safety.
Prostate exams. Yep.
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 They were
Yep.
handing those out.
They had a blow up male member ring toss.
For a penalty. Yeah.
Yeah. So they did that. And then loose nuts, they came with a 49er gold rush theme where the boys were like hillbillies trying to pan for gold, and all the ladies on the team were dressed up as gold diggers, like trying to find your wallet kind of thing. So they had like a dual purpose going on for that.
This is so
The ladies walked in and
deep.
went, "We're here for the gold digger meeting, but these are not the gold diggers that we're supposed to be meeting with." And yeah, it was brilliantly executed.
Yeah, it was good. They, flirting with everybody. So, and they did it as they do. Like both of them did it all weekend long. So
I've
it
never
was
had
good.
so many hands on my ass in one day. Just
Yeah.
every time somebody's cozying up next to you.
Yep. We had a new team. They brought in Infinity G35. They were the chorizo team. They were probably 15 strong in that team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was like
big group.
Six families. And
Yeah, from San Diego, they came up and they had like a big chorizo sausage on the roof of the car, and they were handing out chorizo, and they had like stickers and T-shirts and like all like they went all in. They spent some money.
Tacos. Ooh, oh God, those tacos were so. They lasted 7 minutes. Everybody just had a chorizo taco. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Not only did the tacos last 7 minutes, but their car lasted even less than that. So,
yeah, more on that later.
Yeah, we'll continue on that.
But it was the teams that themed, not just like, oh, here, my Burt Reynolds mustache, Smokey and the Bandit. They were all trying. There were 3 terrible DeLoreans, Back to the Futures, but
awful.
they were putting on the costumes, but the cars were terrible. The amusing thing, there was a boring BMW E30, but these guys have brought this to a couple of West Coast races, and I keep telling them it's going to get destroyed because there's no dents on the car. It's actually really, really clean. And they're like, nope, we've kept it clean this long. We're going to, but they showed up as shirtless firemen. So they've got just red suspenders, pants, fireman hats, and they're kind of dancing a little bit, and all of a sudden the gold diggers appeared out of nowhere, and you never saw 4 very fit, good-looking guys get very, very bashful so quickly.
So uncomfortable. so uncomfortable. They did not know how to handle that. The cougar, it was a cougar fest right there.
So can we leave? We'll take penalty laps. If we can leave now, please. We'll go. But one of the advantages of being in a group text with Eric Rude, and you have Corey Dickman, and people have just been doing this for so long, is even looking at 130 cars. We had most of them pre-classed. We knew what we were looking for. And not only did that get everyone the heck out of there and back to their pits where they could be dried off or get back out on the track or do whatever they want, people that had the more extended presentations gave them time to actually do their whole bit. So I think
it was good.
Yeah. The worst wait, we had like 5 cars for about a minute, and then we got it all straightened out. And at the end of every 30-minute block, we would be we would have the entire area cleared of cars because you had 3 people on tech, 3 people on BS. It was great.
So
That's
tech,
wonderful. It's nice when those days go like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
If you put the work in, you can make them go like that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there'll always be the loose wrench, but if you have a plan, at least going in.
Mm-hmm.
so the tech was interesting. We had David and Corey and Pagel doing tech, and Corey himself failed 20 cars. So
Wow.
there are a lot.
Corey's
of
the
fails.
hammer. He's throwing
Wow.
crap.
Yeah, and a lot of it, a lot of it is insignificant. I shouldn't say minor adjustments, right? Like, I don't like the way your belts are attached to the car. Like, put a bigger washer in, or like the hanger on the exhaust is loose. So it's a bunch of little stuff. But there was one team that came in, and Pagel, it was a new car, rookie team. Pagel said, you need to go find Erica the welder, and she needs to re-weld every bead on this cage. So Erica went in, she had to lower the seat. She re-welded the entire cage. She spent like 8 hours working on this one car alone. Like full redo.
Wow.
Pretty
It's a shame.
unbelievable. Yeah. But
And a lot of
they
it,
got out on track.
yeah, the little things that teams were missing. You know, oh, I have to do that. Did you go to the website and look at the PowerPoint? It's literally PowerPoint, how not to fail. This
Yeah.
is
And
slide
it's
number
like
3.
it's my first like roll case, basically.
Race car.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But even things like Pagel failed a team for they had the roll bar padding on, and they had the pad, like the C of the pad where the bar was exposed where the driver was. Like, no. Like, it's not why that's there. Like, cut all that off and redo it so it's like this and it doesn't move at all. Like, you're missing the point. So
Yeah.
there were some insignificant things, but easily fixable, which is good.
Great trend we're seeing, or at least we're seeing out here on the West Coast. I'm digging it because the same thing happened at Button Willow. It's a lot less just booze for bribes, but a lot more like stuff that they've thought about, and teams that bring penalties like, oh, hey, this is a penalty for you guys to use. I think that's hilarious. We got like 3 penalties.
Yeah.
Remote control cars for teams to race. Those didn't get used. We're saving those. It was the giant penis ring toss. 10 years of the anal probe. They brought a probe word search. That one did get used. They had to go find all the words in that one. That was just some fantastic stuff on that one. And the chorizo tacos were fantastic. One team literally just brought us an entire case of fresh bananas, like produce, because you eat nothing but, meat and carbs while you're at the track. And this like actually got us, fruits and vegetables. So
I will say this, if you are going to bring booze, like, bring booze, like bring a nice bottle of whiskey, or bring a good beer, like not like Coors Light or,
Malort.
something. Yeah. Or Malort. Like, just, if you bring me Malort, I'm going to make you drink it.
And I remember having a team reach out and ask like, hey, what happens to the booze you guys don't want on that one? And usually one of the reasons, that any number of reasons, and everybody here knows this, the corner workers love is the stuff that we can't take on the planes when we're traveling or don't want, the corner workers get. So nothing gets wasted. All of it usually ends up at the potluck anyway. So
yeah, that is true.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
What else was good?
Tired Iron Miata, officially now the most race car in limits.
Yeah. And they got their first victory last year, I think it was. Their first overall.
Yeah. And after years of running always, up front. Yeah.
Yep.
My favorite is the Mustang 2 with the V8 out of a boat that they dug up from the bottom of a lake. I love that car.
That thing is great. It is great. Buttercup was there. Love that giant Lincoln in Overzet. Changed the theme a little bit to in perfect Thanksgiving flavor, a fox hunt. So he was dressed up as a fox, and they like Neil Losi was dressed up as a dog, and the dogs were chasing the fox around, and they had a guy on Buttercup playing a trumpet, and it was a full-on fox hunt theme. Hysterical. Dogs barking, like played on a speaker on the car, like in a loop. Really, really funny. Really, really funny.
Yeah. And then there was the Misguided Children of Bernal Dads. Now, Bernal Dads have been running forever. They're always at the pointy end. They did the Dodgy Band. And what better way to introduce your college-age children into racing than to put them in a solid rear axle Mustang notchback on a rainy weekend at Sonoma? Well done.
Fail.
Parenting. You win.
No fail
Yeah.
on that.
No. That's how do you know your parents don't love you? There you go.
Oh, and we finally had the Oakland Fire Department show up with a Honda Accord. They also, despite many best efforts and the presence of probably 50 people, did not have a good weekend, but they had fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good field. We had I think 132 cars. There were not a lot of cars testing. The judges had a bet as to how many cars were going to get wadded up in that horrible rain on Friday, and I think it was 0, 2, and 6 were the three guesses, and the answer,
I was the pessimist on that one.
The answer was 0. Yeah,
Yep.
the answer was 0, so that was good.
Good. That's a fine thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was excited about that. So
All right.
yeah, so then
Saturday.
They had forecasted kind of scattered showers throughout the day. We show up in the morning early, and what do you have? But you have a beautiful full rainbow in the sky that ends right at the carousel for your pot of gold. It was just spectacular. And what looked to be a really like tough day, where the worst kind of day, which is it's not wet and it's not dry. It's in that I said it to Bagel, I go, it's that hero weather where you think you have grip, but you really don't.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But that wasn't it. The track started to dry out. Sonoma's has a ton of elevation, so their water is draining off of the track nonstop. So even if it's not raining, there's water on the track. So people did a really good job in kind of managing that and letting things dry out. So I think they got super, super lucky with the weather on Saturday. We the judges were expecting the worst.
We did. We had prepared ourselves for the utter nightmare of dealing with all that crap.
Well, after Friday was so wet, then yeah.
Exactly.
Now, if you did make a mistake and you went off, like, wow, wow, was it muddy and dirty?
Yeah,
just keep going.
Yeah, it was the they pull into the paddock. Do I need to ask why you're here?
Yeah. Yeah. So I know why you're here. Did you hit anything in that process?
Yeah.
So, mental at one point, this Volkswagen Beetle with a big splitter comes in.
Normal, well-adjusted mic and the scrubbing bubbles Beetle.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
And no, that was the blue one, the dark blue one.
I'm sorry. Yes.
The navy blue
yeah.
one. It goes in and just like throws the shovel into the dirt and takes these huge chunks of mud along with him. And Mental picks one up, and it was like no joke.
4 pounds.
Yeah, it was the size of a shoe. He builds it up the window and he's like, well, why are you here? So, but it was good. It was really, really nice towards the kind of late morning. And Eric did a good job in letting everybody know, like, it's be careful out there, folks. Be careful. Um, but there were a lot of offs and spins on Saturday, and I think Sunday was actually we'll get into that, but Sunday was actually a lot more contact. It was very bendy on Sunday, but Saturday there were a lot of spins, and we had pretty quickly some repeat offenders, which is always fun for us. So
100%.
yeah. Mental he got to do one of the penalties he's been wanting to do for a long time, which is the Sonomans. So Mental, why don't you tell him a little bit about that?
So the Sonomans is the newest soap opera that will be hitting the channel on there, and it's slightly based on the California Saturday Night Live skit. I just rewrote 3 scenes, and our first was the as seen on TV Kia, which normally they're invisible, and they showed up in the penalty box. Oh, okay, what do we do? Okay, we just need to. Okay, yeah, don't spin again. Okay, the second time. Oh, okay, guys. Stop doing this. Yeah, we don't know. And then I think they got hit the third time, and I'm like, well, yeah, I know it's not lunchtime yet.
I think they got hit at least twice. Like they
got
hit everything
after that. Yeah,
they hit everything but the lottery. Like it was bad.
That car got banged up. So I had them. I had already printed out the scripts. They set up the set. They cast the roles. Then we recorded 3 episodes of the Sonomans soap opera. And if they don't use it for the wrap up video, it is absolutely going on our YouTube channel because it's awesome.
I don't know, Jeffrey. Why are you here?
Just so get on the 608, go to Petaluma where you belong. Yep.
And then Mental, he wrote a song on his 8-hour drive to the racetrack, a spinoff on Sorry for Party Racing, Sorry for Shitty Driving, where you had karaoke that over the LMFAO song.
Yes.
And of course somebody pulled that one. It was like, are you kidding? Like both, like the 2 back-to-backs.
Yes.
The Sonomans and the Sorry for Shitty Driving penalties pulled. I was like,
and it was 2 older guys who English was not their first language, and they didn't know the original song, and the young kid had no idea who LMFAO was. So they're just reading the lyrics regardless of what the music's doing in the background. Afterwards, Kevin, who works the races, Kevin comes to me and says, I thought we were friends. Why would you make me suffer through that?
He runs tippy tap with Kim at the penalty table, and he was like, Mental, I thought we were friends. Please don't ever do that again.
Yes. We had some, a couple of other good classics on there. Was it Saturday or Sunday? We did I wrote it down, but the Central California Homestead.
Oh, that was I think that was Sunday.
It was. Yeah, that was our first customer Sunday morning.
Yeah, right. That was Sunday in the Passat.
Yes.
But you had the team do the Salvation Army penalty, so they had a cowbell and a bucket, and they had to go around and collect money for Ranger Road.
And they
singing holiday songs. Yeah.
And they leaned into it and got $250.
Yeah. Like,
that's great.
Well done. Well done.
That was a great one. Yeah. So
there was at one point Corey went around, he jumped in the golf cart and drove around. He came back to penalty and he goes, there is an epic amount of cars being fixed right now. He's like, it feels like a third of the field is in the paddock working on their broken crap right now. So it was a tough day. It was a tough day.
But it was refreshing to see people commit to fixing their cars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We've gotten very good as this series has matured about knowing, all right, you know what, I can do this in this amount of time and still have fun, or nope, throw it on the trailer. We're out of here. And there was not an excessive amount of throwing it on the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. The Kia that we were speaking about before, like they put their stuff back together. There were a lot of cars that had some sort of damage or that had to from contact that had to come back and get reteched, or had issues. We had was it three? We had 3 fires. Oh no, we had 2 fires.
One in the paddock.
And one in a paddock. So two required a fire.
Fires?
Car fires. Yeah, car fires. So Mike and the Scrubby Beetle, his car, did we talk about that in the award? Should we talk about that later? The Scrubby Beetle? Do it now?
Yeah.
All right.
So, as part of his voyage to the I think we didn't get him screwed. We did get him screwed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll wait on that one. But the Infinity, there's 2 Infinity teams. One of them called the Ricers. Their car caught on fire right at the gas pump, which is a horrible place to do. And then one team that had they had a small fire in their Fiero, which was one of the it was a Cadillac swapped Fiero. They had a small
one of the
fire.
DeLoreans.
Yep. They used their fire suppression, which was a bad choice. They were actually in the paddock, I think, when it happened, and ended up having to go to Wine Country Motorsports and spend $400 to buy a new fire suppression system, because no one's going to just refill it last second like that. So they were like, man, do we spend the $400 or do we park the car? And if it was Sunday, I think they would have parked the car, but it was Saturday pretty early. So it was like, oh, just add it to the tally,
Yep.
So
with the Scrubbing Beetle, it was actually in the paddock in front of somebody else's garage. Now, that Beetle, Mike has been running that Beetle for a decade, and it actually used to be really, really quick, but now the field has gotten a lot faster. But one of its first races, it was T-boned really hard. And in doing so, the car was significantly bent, but over the years, or, actually for the immediate repair, they got it unbent, and over the years, they've worked it out. But what we didn't know, what no one knew, what no one could know, is that for a decade, in between some of those sandwich panels, for 10 years, a piece of bent metal has been slowly sawing its way through the main wiring harness.
Oh, that's
And
exciting.
It's very exciting. And at this race, it got to the one with power on it, shorted it to the air cleaner. And while the Cadillac Alante team is getting their car prepped in their garage, right outside of their garage, boom, big fireball everywhere. So they all grabbed their extinguishers from the garage and safely put that fire out before the fire team could even respond. So they saved the Beetle, they saved the garages, they saved the Alante, and they were repaid with new expensive charged fire extinguishers, courtesy of Mike and his lovely lady. And Mike himself quoting his rental driver. The guy showed up late, like as the driver's meeting is starting, going, "Oh, what did I miss?" And then he ended up staying all night rewiring that Beetle. The guy has not turned a lap or turned that many laps. So he gets out there and Mike says, "Well, how was it aside from the fire?" He goes, "Well, I first got that car onto the track and it was the worst day ever. Then I connected and it was the best day ever. And then I was on fire."
That's quite a day. Most cars don't have that kind of swing in experiences.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He got all the emotions. All of the emotions.
It was a Dickensian story. It was the best of times. It was the worst.
The worst of times. Totally.
Very uncharacteristic. The Ranger Road hand controlled GTI. That one usually gets every Sonoma race. It gets a hit. Somebody just nails that thing. Survived all day. And it was very unsettling not to hear them wailing on that car with hammers Saturday night. They pulled it in, they checked the fluids, they torqued the wheels, they were good to go. Fantastic.
Well, and by what Mental means when he says survived is that it didn't require chains and a truck to straighten the vehicle out.
Again.
But I'll just say this. When I came to the track on Sunday morning, I picked up the outside cover for their driver's side mirror and the fender liner for their Mini, and I brought them over and I said, I'm pretty sure these are yours. And they were like, oh yeah, that is. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Yep.
So they did not go unscathed, but they also did not completely stuff the car, which is a huge improvement, actually.
Now, and Tim had mentioned the great collection of mud and sliding, and as the car started to go through, I know, brace yourself. We had an Audi go off, and they're normally so great in the rain.
All-wheel drive for the win.
Yeah, exactly. They had done the very well-crafted plywood spoiler, which immediately dug into the mud, got completely ripped off, flipped up underneath the car. They came back in. They had to change a wheel. We looked it over, gave it the safety check, and sent it back on track. And as they go back onto the track, the hardworking staff at Sonoma, they are very good about collecting all the body parts that they find on the track. So they come back with this giant splitter and
in pieces.
In pieces.
In
And they
pieces.
dump it out of the back of the truck where it hits right in front of the garage in front of Penalty. And there's 100 pounds of mud all caked on it as well. And they go back on their way as the Audi comes back in and goes, none of our laps are counting now. And Tim wisely looks at him and goes, where's your transponder mounted? And you see the look of horror when they realize, oh God, it's still on the track. It's attached to our splitter. Nope. It's right over there. And they had to dig through the 10 pounds of mud to find their transponder and reattach it to their car.
Yeah. They are so lucky that
So
it is not 3 feet down in the dirt out on the racetrack. That would have been a $400 mistake right there, boys.
Yeah. So Saturday, everyone, as they came off the track, and one of the penalties that we always offer is that you can donate $100 to Ranger Road before you choose the feather from the Turkey of Doom or the candy cane or the pencil of doom, something of the doom. But one of the teams we knew was all college kids. They did not have $100. So we made them the offer, if they would provide $100 of labor to Ranger Road, they could also afford the same capabilities. And for reasons we still don't understand, they had a 10-minute discussion about whether or not they wanted to just pick the feather from the doom, till finally Jeff said, you'd be done with your penalty by now if you guys would just make up your mind. So
like, how lazy do you have to be to not set tables up?
So they
what they might get might be like bad.
Awful. Awful.
Yeah, right?
not might it. We had
doom.
one get out of jail free card. Everything else was terrible.
Of doom.
Yeah.
Of
It would have
doom.
likely been bad. It would
Yeah.
have likely been bad.
So they did the setup on that one and the potluck, partially because of the weather, but partially just because the people that come to Sonoma was an immense success. That was a great time. Everybody was hanging out. They had a person providing music accompaniment for dinner on the guitar. And somehow in that night, all of the judges found themselves married to gold diggers. Like marriage certificates and everything. We're not sure when that happened, but we were announced that we now had wives, which leads into, I think, Sunday morning, unless you've got something else, Tim.
No, that's it. That's it. I was busy cleaning up the Valdez 2.0 at my house. So
So I got to hang out with some of the folks and then go home. But on Sunday morning, in addition to the also Pecker's Nest that we had and more eggs laid around there, this was on display outside of the penalty box on the garages. The gold diggers had planned this enough ahead to where they stalked all of us on Facebook and found every one of us worst picture.
The picture of Jeff Gates with the Fanta girls is my favorite. That's
Because it's the
amazing.
least Jeff Gates thing ever.
Ever. Like they should have drawn a dart sticking out of his mouth and it would have been more believable.
But they did. They found horrible pictures of all of us and Rich, and then they said that they divorced us and we were all bankrupt.
Oh wow.
Again,
Mhm.
yeah, they were leaning into that theme.
Quick marriage around here.
Mhm.
All right, Sunday. Tell me about Sunday. What happened?
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. We did not have to have a Sunday morning drivers meeting, so out everyone goes. It looked like it might try to fog over, but it did not. So we got everyone lined up on grid, and when you've got 3 furry cars, who should lead that race?
Furry cars.
Furry cars.
So Buttercup in the lead, a
Mhm.
horse.
Mhm.
The Oldsmobile
The mayor.
furry car, a horse, and then a pink and white Furby, just super fuzzy, taking it out with the top 10 right behind them, and
Or no, the
everyone.
top 10 went out, then the furry cars, and then
No, the furry cars were
they put them in
first.
front of the top 10. Oh, that's even hilarious.
100% they did.
Yes.
That's great.
100% they did.
Good.
So
I bet
you
some
can.
people were burning.
Oh man, it's
Oh,
I've
so
got a
mad.
Oh, so
I've got a-
This
mad.
is a travesty.
I don't know. I feel
Oh.
like 8.5 of those top 10 teams are probably sitting there going,
Sure.
it's a horse.
I know. That's why I said there were some people were
Yeah.
burning mad.
Yeah.
So my favorite part about it is so if you're standing in the hot pit and you're looking up what they call the drag strip, like at the exit of turn 6 up to turn 7, that's where you'll see the train of cars first appear, right? So I'm watching and I was like, this is going to be amazing to see these furry cars like leading all of the pack going up. And you've got Buttercup in all her glory going straight up the center of the drag strip. And then you've got the horse, the Oldsmobile horse, and Furby behind it, weaving back and forth like it's the Las Vegas
Getting
Grand
the-
Prix,
That's
trying to get
amazing.
heat in their tires. And I was like, what are you guys doing? That is hysterical. So then they go all the way around, and now I'm standing there at the first bend before start finish. And that's when they can first come around the corner into the straight and see the green flag. And you see Buttercup and the Oldsmobile and Furby get around the corner, and they're going nice and slow, and they see the green flag, and then it's like chaos. Like the top 10 just go around them like they're standing still, and people are weaving, and it was absolute bedlam. It was fantastic.
The joke was, it looks like Buttercup's not even trying. Oh, I promise you, Buttercup's trying. Buttercup is
Yeah.
giving it everything Buttercup has.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Overzet was whipping that horse as hard as he could. It was great. It was great. And it was dry. I mean, it was dry.
Yay. That's
Yeah.
great.
And
Yeah.
we expected
Great.
rain to come in at like 2, and it never did.
In fact, it was
But-
sunny. It got a
Yeah.
little warm, too warm for
Yeah.
a turkey onesie.
Yeah, so the green flag dropped at 9, and by 11 o'clock, I bet you we had 25 cars in for contact penalties.
Wow.
And it was
Now they're
dry?
trying to. Now it's
And it
dry.
was
They're trying
dry.
to win. They're trying to win.
Yeah.
I had the line. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of bumping going on. And I had the conversation with Eric, and I said, "Hey, almost all of the black flags that have come in so far have been contact. Like, how do you want me to handle this?" And he goes, "The next team that comes in for contact, if it's at all egregious or like racy, if it's not just a hey, and I locked him up and slid into the guy kind of thing." He goes, "I want you to put both of them on the hood of their car and have them drive around the paddock and say, I'm driving too fast and too aggressive, and this is why we're here, and I'm gonna create a double yellow for the whole team. Don't be like me." So we it was close. Like we were ready to pull the trigger, and then it started to calm down a little bit. But I mean,
Which
it
is
was
not to say that everyone got off
crashing.
scot-free.
Oh no.
We made
no.
one team do the turkey leg race, which is like the three-legged race, except there were 5 of them.
Yeah.
We strapped all of their legs together, and they had to figure out how to walk one lap around the paddock. They had to stop halfway and catch their breath because it was a lot of work, and they were trying to plan it like engineers with that much hilarity.
You could have taken 5 people that none of them spoke the same language, and they would have done a better job. These guys were terrible. And the one guy that had the megaphone, well, he got like 3/4 of the way around, which is right in front of the media center, and he looks over at the guys that he's tied to, and he just puts his head down and just shakes his head. and I was like, well, we need to motivate these guys. So I ran over and grabbed some caution tape, and Mental and I strung a finish line across the fire lane and said, all right, come on, guys, you can do it. And then they decided they were going to try something different. They all went sideways, and they tried to shuffle sideways. And
I was convinced we were actually going to have to call the paramedics. One of
Yeah.
them was going to face plant. This was like, I almost made him stop.
Surprised
I'm
nobody
like,
did.
ah.
So then they were like, well, that's not working. And then they all faced forward again. And then instead of trying to be united in which leg goes forward, they all just like stutter stepped their way as quickly as they could. Which it was a sad day in human history.
Now what if we also talked about the threat of the Central California Valley homestead, which is you have to park your car, safely put it on jack stands, take the wheels off, procure chairs, and then sit there like you're in your front homestead with, and watch everybody else racing. And we've spoken before about Tim's incredible ability regarding the Suno app that allows people to, use AI to write songs. And Tim immediately found a bluegrass song about exactly what they were doing. I apologize to everyone who is only listening to this on the radio, but you will be able to hear part of the song.
Cloudy day. It sure is powerful cloudy. Might get cloudier. Light clearer.
That's awfully familiar. It says the West Virginia penalty that we had many, many years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
It's
It's
same
just-
thing. Yes.
I made it regionally and holiday appropriate.
Yeah. So much banjo. It was amazing. And we set them up right in front of the judge's garage, which is like at the precipice of all activity at the racetrack, and everybody's walking by, and there's people doing videos and pictures, and these guys are just sitting there in their own misery. It was amazing.
To their credit, they leaned into it. I don't
did.
think we really had no one refused a penalty. No one got all racery about the penalties. Actually, I think everyone
that's
kind of
good.
chuckled.
No, it was good.
Although
And all of
it isn't a self-selection mechanism when people do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, we're just going to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
That sounds good. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yep. Good.
The
All right.
the Sierra College
you
folks,
got everyone
they
calm down.
Yep. They got everyone calmed down, but people were still making mistakes. The Sierra College kids, they made a lot of mistakes. Like so many mistakes. And we gave them the Bart Simpson penalty, which was great. There was a big
Holiday affirmations. They had to
Yep.
write it their holiday affirmation.
Mm-hmm. So
And I'm convinced they did this to irritate me because there's 10 of them. So we had them write it 200 rather than 100 times. And 1 to 12 was on this fender but then over here 13-21, and then I had to come back to count where 22 to and I looked at you. Did this on purpose, didn't you? One of them was laughing, so probably. But yeah,
My favorite part about the whole thing was the only body panel on the car that didn't have Bart Simpson on it was the roof. Like every other thing is covered in Sharpie. It's just Sharpie everywhere.
Mhm.
It's so good. It's so good.
At one point we had 2 of the 3 racing DeLoreans in the impound lot.
Yeah.
What was the team that we gave one team the Alien Probe? You guys remember when you're out in Bakersfield, the Alien Probe?
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
was their 10th, as Eric called it, probiversary or analversary. So they donated a penalty of the word search where they all had to find all of the words in the word search. And I think they probably would have been done in about 10 minutes, but it was a young group of kids out there and their parents were all there, and their parents made them all like stand there and get pictures with their completed word searches next to the car. It was like a photo op for another 10 minutes before they had to come back in and turn in their word searches.
It was great. It was great.
Excellent.
I did one penalty on a second black flag because I was like, well, this is an opportunity to do a penalty, which isn't going to cost them any more time, but it's going to be fun for me. So it was a team that had a Honda Civic. They made contact. They had a large chunk of their rim ripped off. So I had to go and say, all right, well, you got to change this wheel out before you go. So put them in impound. I said, here's what I want you to do. All right, I want you to write a song. Like, it's got to be a work song. So what's not a non-offensive work song? I said, Oompa Loompas. So I want you to write a song in the Oompa Loompa song. That kind of Oompa Doompa Doompity Doo. I got a black flag in turn 2. So like they wrote this song out and 5 of them had to sing that while one of them changed the tire on their car in the impound. So that's all they had to do. They wrote the song, wrote it on the roof of the car, changed the tire, off they went. Except
and they
for
had
the
to
driver.
sweep all their mud out of the penalty.
Yeah. Except for the driver who dragged a bunch of mud in. I said, all right, well, you have to sweep all this up and sing the song again. And he was like, oh, okay.
So, all right, we will, that was Sunday. It started to calm down. We will throw this one in there. So the 181 Perplexus, they started as this years ago as a very disorganized team of bright-eyed, enthusiastic folks. Pagel did their cage, and then they have turned into a serious race team. They're very, very fast. They're very smart. They're very, almost usually very clean. They had
they won at the butt a couple months ago.
They've won, and like to the wire.
Yep.
So of course they were okay, but coming into turn 11, they had complete brake failure after coming all the way down the hill, and they were moving. And the person in the car, recognizing brake failure, elected wisely to go straight and use all the crumple zone of the car. And he was smart enough to get the handbrake up. And it was gasp worthy to watch, but the driver was fine. The cage was good. Spend your money on good gear. That car is no more. They might be able to get some parts off of it, but the car died. The driver was fine. So that I think that gave us attention, but they did have to actually reroute traffic while they fixed the course. So they had to alter the racetrack during a full course yellow and bring that out.
Exciting.
Yeah.
They ran the short 11 for probably, hats off to the safety crew. It only took them like 15 minutes to put the tire wall back together and get things cleaned up. So, but it was a scary one. Like people were like, I felt that. Like I didn't just hear that. Like I felt that. That was a big impact.
It was one of those ones where as everyone heard tire screeching and an impact, just conversation stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a distinctive sound.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go through the winners?
So last thing before we go to the winner. So now we get to the end of the day, everyone gets done. Like everyone's coming off, everyone's hanging around, right? It's all the high fives, everyone's coming in. And of course we had one EV that is running the race with Chevy Bolt. and they come in and they die. They run out of battery on the track. And they come in on the hook, and I got a great video. Mental's in front of me, and I said, "Hey, Mental, you know what's wrong with that? Ain't got no gas in it." and off they go into the battery. It's cheering, blah blah blah. So that was super fun, but a fitting ending to the evening. So, but then awards.
And awards. All right. The
Who got what?
Yeah. So boring overall. It was a 999, the Ranger Road spinoff in lieu of therapy. It's a diesel Mark II Rabbit it's a diesel Mark II GTI. Good team. They know how to drive. They've had the Corrado for years. They run clean. They do their thing. Class B was the hit and run in that now forever will live in a very tired, very squishy 1.6 liter Miata, but no more.
Yeah.
And Class C, after so many years of trying, was 10 years of anal probing in their Ford Probe, which just this year was under 4 feet of sewer water when San Diego flooded and the sewer backed up into their garage about 4.5 feet high. And they managed to get it out. And
so disgusting.
So disgusting, especially when you're talking about anal probes, because you really want those cleaner. But that's how that all went on that one.
So we had the I Got Screwed went to, as we talked about before, the 53, the VW Beetle that caught on fire. Those guys are awesome. I mean,
you guys know
time. Mike. Yeah, in it all the time. So all the things. We had the But Terrible went to car 201 in their BMW E36. They had a slave cylinder plunger that, as they said, yeeted its way into the bell housing. So they had to simply remove the transmission. But in order to do that on the E36, you have to take the intake off to get to the top bolt. So what was a 20-minute job turned into 4 hours. So that was super but terrible.
Mm-hmm. With all of the PT Cruisers there, they had the PT Cruiser Quarterly American Cruiser USA Cruising Award. And that went to the Mile High Pistons PT Cruiser, which we saw it in BS, and we didn't see it again. So they still finished 30th or so. The PT3 GTRS, we saw them a lot, which was impressive.
A lot.
A lot. And our Hella Sweet Award was the Mitsubishi, which Eric is getting media. He goes around. There's some folks, they've got their kids there at the track, and they're being very responsible parents. They're there with their children, and the children have the earmuffs, hearing protection on, and they are over there next to the Mitsubishi, just rubbing it and rubbing their face on it. And Eric brought it over to Dr. Mary and said, as a pediatrician, should we be warning these parents? And he shows her the video.
Yeah. This is a white and pink furry car that's been running for years. And
it's not white anymore.
Yeah.
It hasn't been white for a time.
Yeah. Formerly white, I should say. Formerly. It's disgusting. And the only thing dirtier than the outside is the engine. Like, you lift the engine up, the hood up and look at the engine. It is just gross. It's gross. You're like, does this car even run? And it ran all weekend. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Really
it's automatic even. Yeah.
The heroic fix went to car 76, the Stircore Supra in their Toyota Supra. This is their second race. They blew their motor up. They had a parts Supra there. They did an engine swap on said Supra to get it back out on track for a perfect heroic fix story, right up until the last 10 minutes of the race, where the driver's side rear wheel fell off, and they had to come in on the flatbed. So we presented them with the Heroic Fix Award and gave them back their tire and wheel. So that was a super heroic fix. Very poorly done.
The one guy's coming to meet him at the track. Hey guys, I'm on my way to the track. You want me to get anything? Yeah. Hey, do me a favor. That's great. Could you get us a pallet of water? That'd be great. And also like maybe a 6 Gatorades. Oh, and could you swing by the shop and get the parts car and the trailer and bring that to us as well? We're going to need that later tonight. The mother of the kids and the dad that were working on that came down to the judge's booth during the potluck. She's like, my team is swapping their entire engine. Is that normal? and I had to sigh and go, yes.
So the sidebar to that is Stacy, who works the gate. So this lady comes in and says, I've got to bring my team parts for their car. Their car was broken. And as she goes, okay, well, here you go. She gave her a wristband so she didn't have to pay the $40 for the weekend. And she goes, we got to come right back. So he comes right back and she says, all right, well, here, let me give you the wristband back. And she goes, are you sure you're going to want to give that wristband back? And she's like, yeah, they've got the parts. They're fine. Then they broke again. So the next day she shows back up and Stacy goes, huh, should have kept that wristband, huh?
Yeah.
Bad.
So great team with those guys. The organizer's choice was one of the DeLoreans. We've talked about it. This is the Fiero 777 DeLorean. It was a group of engineers, fresh college students who decided to put the Cadillac high performance motor in it sideways. Just everything on there they had to make up as they went along, and then they chose horrible tires. They could barely turn the thing. It was wonderfully poorly executed. Yeah.
So bad. It was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then the judge's choice went to 661, which is the Chorizo Racing Infinity G35 we talked about. They were so good. They acquired this car. It had a bad ECU. They swapped in a new one.